Good morning, Warden Meyer.
Morning, Mr. Roche, everyone. How y'all doing?
Good. The committee on parole is gonna reconvene. Time is 11:08 a.m. Our remote location is Raymond Ward Correctional Center in Cottonport, Louisiana. The staff at Raymond Ward, introduce yourself.
Sorry, Warden Marcus Myers.
On record.
Are you going in and out, Warden Meyer? Would the staff please introduce themselves?
Yeah, let's try again. Warden Marcus Myers.
Raven Heath classification.
Those on board on record.
Right. Would the offender please introduce yourself, give your full name and your Department of Corrections ID?
My name is Marty Lejeune. My corrections ID is 448744.
Thank you, Mr. Lejeune. How are you?
I'm all right today, thank you.
Good. Mr. Lejeune, I'm going to explain the process and then we're going to have an interview, okay?
Sure.
Mr. Lejeune, you are a first felony offender. Your offenses are attempted first-degree murder, and you were sentenced on May 6, 2002, and you received a 50-year sentence, and you received 934 days jail credit. There was a second count of attempted first-degree murder, and you were sentenced the same day, May 6, 2002, and you received a 50-year sentence with 934 days jail credit. Those sentences were running consecutively. Your total sentence was 100 years. You became eligible for parole eligibility by Act 122 of the Louisiana State Legislature. Your parole date is or was January 31st, 2023. You have a new adjusted good time date of November 18th, 2082, and your full term date is March 23rd, 2097. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So all that information is correct.
Yes, sir.
The case has been assigned to Mrs. Jackson. Would you please answer Mrs. Jackson's questions?
Good afternoon, Marty. How are you doing?
How you doing, ma'am?
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 45 years old.
And how long have you been incarcerated on these charges?
I've been incarcerated 23 and a half years.
So you were about 22 when you committed this offense?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
So tell us briefly, why did you shoot at the Marxists?
I was young, selfish, and
So young and shelf doesn't explain why you shoot at the Marxists. Tell us what happened. Why did you go over there? Why did you have a gun? And why did you shoot at him?
going through a divorce, and I was not at the time there was a restraining order in effect. I wasn't being allowed to see my son, and I decided to take the law into my own hands without thinking, through selfishness and being young.
Just hold on for a moment.
I want to recognize some persons that have joined us today at the hearing. We have your aunt, Michelle Newell. who would like to make a presentation at the appropriate time. And we have Dr. Sandra Marks. She's a victim of the offense. And Dr. Donald Marks was a victim. And they would like to make a statement at the appropriate time. We'll give you a chance to make your statement at the appropriate time. Mrs. Jackson.
All right, so you were going through a divorce. You had a restraining order against you. You violated the restraining order by going to the Marx's residence and you were armed with a weapon. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
What did you think was gonna happen?
I wasn't thinking about the future. I was just thinking in the present tense.
What was what were you gonna do when you got there?
I wanted my son.
So what were you gonna do to get your son?
Use of violence.
Well, when people get divorces, there are custody arrangements that are part of that process. So why didn't you just go through that process?
I hadn't seen my son in 2 weeks, and I was at the Rice Festival. I seen him in a parade. I didn't even know he was going to be in the parade. And it broke my heart.
Well, how old was your son at that time, Mr. Lejeune?
He was a year and something.
And so, you had plenty of time to get to know your son. You could have gone to court, you could have gotten visitation arrangements. And, you're so anxious to see your son that you go over and shoot at his grandparents. And so you lost any opportunity you had to be in a relationship with your son.
Ma'am, I did. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I did that. I was young, foolish, I was selfish.
Are you currently taking medication for mental health issues?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
What is your diagnosis?
Anxiety, depression, fatigue,
Anxiety, depression, and what else?
fatigue.
I'm having a hard time understanding that last thing, but
I said fatigue, like kind of like depression,
fatigue.
tiredness,
Fatigue.
fatigue.
Yeah.
Fatigue.
You were placed on suicide watch on April 12th of 2022. Why was that?
I asked to see mental health that morning, and I was told that I couldn't see mental health, and that I was trying to get out of work call, and I was handcuffed. I put the cuffs on real tight. They didn't want to let me see mental health, so I fell on the ground and refused to move until I seen an EMT.
So anytime people tell you no, looks like you just decide you're going to do what you want to do. You had a restraining order, you chose to violate that. Instead of going through the legal process to get rights to your son, you go over and threaten and shoot at the grandparents. While in prison, you had multiple write-ups for disobedience, defiance, and aggravated work offenses. You've been in the working cell block on multiple occasions. You've had stints of extended lockdown.
Yes, ma'am, I agree with you, ma'am. Angola is not a fun place.
It's not supposed to be.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. I've been through every conceivable evil that there is on earth in Angola. I've been attacked. I've been almost raped. I've been through every conceivable thing there is. Possible demoralizing, evil, disgusting thing there is in Angola. It's a,
Well,
it's
when did you
Yep.
leave and when did you leave Angola?
about 3 months ago.
And what have you been doing, where you are now?
Go to work, read or watch TV. And if given the opportunity, I'll participate in any self-help programs that they allow me to participate in.
You participated in any since you've been there?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
One,
Ma'am,
what program?
I finished victims awareness, I finished thinking for a change, and I also finished 100 hours pre-release.
Very good. What did you get out of victim awareness?
The main thing I got out of victim awareness is I realized that the crime I committed and people it's affected, you know, I'm sorry for, the victims had to go through all of that.
What did you learn? What did you learn about what they went through?
Learn the impact and the effect it has on people's lives, how it affects people, and the things that they might have went through, things that they were thinking, and the fear that they might feel in the future, and the way that it changes lives. Changed my life. I apologize to the victims and everyone involved. And, the only thing I hope for is to maybe get out of prison and have a relationship with the people that I love, family. That's it. That's all I can ask for in this life. I did 23 years in prison. And I don't know what else, I can do except just let time go by and do the best I can.
See, you've gotten some vocational training in welding and auto tech. And you have been an adult ed tutor in core curriculum. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I have a diploma in welding. I finished welding school. I have a diploma in welding. And I finished 2 courses in auto tech. And I was a tutor at one time. I mean, I did some good things too in Angola besides, always in trouble, but I mean, I've learned a lot about religion and I've also done a lot of reading in prison.
Whenever you have an opportunity to be released, Mr. Lejeune, what's your transition plan? Where would you go? Where would you live?
My aunt has agreed to let me live with her.
Where does she live?
Mississippi, in Moss Point, Mississippi, and I believe that having a job, holding a job is the number one priority for anybody getting out of prison or any type of stable lifestyle. Is having a number one priority should be a job before anything else. And
What about your mental health?
same follow-up treatment and continuing my medication and paying attention to how I feel and the way I respond to things around me. And being around the proper people, is the main aspect, being around proper people in life, staying away from the wrong type of people. People that can support me, people that can see the things I'm going through and help me if I should go astray.
So what are your thoughts about your son?
I love my son very much.
Go ahead.
I would love nothing more to have a relationship with my son.
What if he doesn't want that?
Well, I would understand. I mean, I'm not asking him I wouldn't be asking him.
What if you felt like, his mother or, Marx's were the reason that you didn't have a relationship? Felt like they were preventing you from having a relationship with him?
I don't understand the question exactly. What I'm saying, if he didn't want to have a relationship with me, I would have to understand that. I mean, it would have to,
But
I mean,
thought the reason that he didn't want to have it was because of the Marxes or because of his mom.
well, I would understand if he didn't want to have a relationship. I mean, there's not much. I would still, my heart would still reach out to him, you know, and try to make him understand that I was young and I was a different person back then, you know, and you know, I don't see life the same way I used to, you know. I'm 45 years old. But I mean, I would understand if he didn't want to have anything to do with me. Doesn't mean, you know, I still wouldn't want to go on with my life, do positive, you know, things, you know, or try to have some type of life, or even having a second chance at life is a blessing. You know? I mean, I've been in Angola, and it's just, I mean, I've seen so many guys die all around me all the time. I'm happy to be here at RLCC, where it's not bad like it is, you know. And
Or now, what can you add to our discussion?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Jackson. You know, as you correctly pointed out, I mean, Marty had, as a lot of young men do, he had a rough start in Angola. Young, I believe, you know, trying to adjust to the system, had a lot of conduct history. We had a long conversation yesterday about that. But he's been here with us since December, and I have a plan for him. You know, I think that this will be a much better environment for him. He did do a few good things in Angola, and he is also, like you said, he completed victim awareness here. He is currently enrolled in Cage of Rage. Happy about. But you know, I think he's done a lot of time. He's heading. I want to get him involved in our Strive program. The only reason he's not is because he hasn't been here long enough to be eligible for it. But I think he will get there. He does need living in balance. He needs substance abuse treatment, both phases. So I want to complete that. I want to get him in my Boys to Men program, nurturing parents, inside out dads. All these things I think will help him. I think he's working on a new start and going to be in a better environment, do these things here. I think he's got some work he needs to do.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your input, Warden. Mr. Rochelle.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Let's have a couple questions. Have you have anyone in your family seen your son since you've been incarcerated?
I seen him at my mama's funeral.
Okay, so your mama did have a relationship with him after.
I'm not sure the extent of their relationship. My mama was kind of incapacitated towards the end of her life, but I seen him and my ex-wife, Laura, at my mother's funeral. I talked to both of them.
That's a good start. Okay. And I see you had 4 contraband write-ups. What were they about?
Those contraband write-ups from when I was using synthetic mojo and Angola. I'm not gonna lie, I was at one point I had given up all hope of ever getting out of prison. And I mean, there was no laws for anybody to get out or any type of hope at all about making parole or anything. I started using drugs. I started using synthetic marijuana, and I got a bunch of write-ups for it. It was the penitentiary was infested with it. It was cheap, efficient. Everybody was using it, and everybody was abusing it. And
You consider yourself a drug addict?
yes, sir, I do. I'll always consider myself a drug addict.
Thank you. I have no further.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. At this time, we'd like to hear from Ms. Cheryl Newell. Is that? Could you please open your mic and give us your statement, give us your full name, and then give us your statement.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Newell. I am Marty's maternal aunt. I live in Mississippi, and I love Marty. I've tried to be supportive through these years with him, and I know he has some problems and some things he'll have to get through, but my husband and I were foster parents for 13 years. We're not at this time, but we have adopted 2 children, and we love him and we want him to come home. We, I missed him. Haven't seen him in about 5 years, and I miss him. And my sister is deceased, and but we are well able financially and mentally, physically, to help him get on his feet. I have a son that is his age, and he's a shipbuilder at Ingalls Shipyard in Pascagoula, Mississippi, and they are willing to help him. I've checked into other programs that are willing to work with him. The union, if he wants to weld, there's a Plant Daniels power plant like 2 miles from my house that's willing to look into hiring him. And he's got a lot of good things going for him. We're faithful people, I feel, to the Lord. And I do feel that he has served time for the crimes he committed. He was a young man, and he's grown up in a bad place. I say grown up, you know, his young adulthood in Angola is a rough place. And, but, you know, he would have a nice, secure home here in Mississippi. It's in the country. We have a lake in our backyard. He can fish on his spare time. We live a mile from our church, his First Apostolic Church of Escatawpa. Our pastor is aware of his situation. He's willing to work with him through whatever he needs help with. We have a great men's group there that, you know, pray and work through obstacles in their lives. And we want him to come home. I know he's, you know, he's got some issues and with mental health, but I've never had any issues, but some other members of our family have, but I'm prepared to deal with it. My husband is here as well. He's prepared to deal with whatever we need to do to give him a second chance in life. And I believe in my heart he deserves it.
Thank you, Ms. Newell.
You're welcome.
We appreciate your statement.
Thank you.
Can we hear from Dr. Sandra Marks now? Would you please open your mic?
Yeah. Yes, sir. It took us a little while to unmute the mic.
I'm in the same generation. I do understand.
Okay, thank you. And I would like to thank you, Mr. Roche and Ms. Jackson and Mr. Freeman for allowing us to come before you to express our concerns. We'll be very direct with where we are in this situation and the possibility that Mr. Marty Lejeune would ever be released. In my opinion, both personally and professionally, and according to the psych evaluation at the time of his incarceration, as a result of his attack on us, his attempt to murder us, I believe he is a narcissistic sociopath, and I believe the reports support that. I believe he's a danger to society. His goal was initially, he targeted my daughter because she was the daughter of 2 professional people. He saw us as an opportunity financially. His goal was to be a leader in the drug world. He extorted money from my daughter. He threatened my daughter, emotionally abused her, and broke her down to the point where she thought she could help him. He has no respect for authority. He never respected me or my husband, even though we attempted to help them to remedy the situation, to help offer remedy to their situation as a couple. It never worked out. He has no relationship with us. He has no relationship with my daughter, nor our grandson, Tristan Marks, that we co-parented, and with the help of our spiritual advisor, priest, was able to allow us to parent him to a time that he could better understand what his father did to him, and what could have been a more disastrous when he pointed the gun to me and said, "Get on the floor, I'm going to kill you." I was holding his son, my grandson. I refused to get on the floor. The prospect of him getting out is gut-wrenching. We have spent the last 23 years, and that's the bane of our existence, because the last words when the officers brought him back to the scene of the crime, that next time he was going to blow our heads off. We've lived with that possible reality for 23 years. My grandson was 2.5. He witnessed his dad sight off on us, on me, with a double-barrel sawed-off shotgun with the intent of taking him, going after my daughter, and he had to come through me and my husband. He beat us both, and we prevailed. He destroyed my daughter's career. It has taken her a lifetime to recover from this, if she has at all. She has gone forward with her life. I humbly ask and respect your consideration of no parole. Thank you, sirs and madam.
Thank you, Dr. Marks. Dr. Donald Marks.
Yes, I have nothing to add to that. I agree with what Dr. Sanders said 100%. And I have spent so many sleepless nights redreaming this episode that once this parole came up, it all started again. I just hope I never have to see him again. I don't know that I can handle that, but we appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marks and Dr. Marks. We appreciate your testimony, and we will take it under advisement.
Thank you.
Mute.
Mr. Lejeune, a brief closing statement.
I would like to say to the victim, sorry. I know that I can't change what I did, nor can I bring any closure. And I have to live with what I've done. I take responsibility for it. And if I can't get a second chance at life, I understand that.
Thank you, Mr. Lejeune. Is the panel ready to vote? Mrs. Jackson.
Mr. Lejeune, I'm really glad you're in a better place now. I'm glad that you were able to make it to Raymond Reward. And the warden has a plan for you. He's got some things that he thinks will help you tremendously. And I agree with that. And you should be very appreciative that he is concerned enough about your welfare and your growth and your rehabilitation to put in place some things that you need to do. And so I hope that you appreciate his efforts, and I hope that you take advantage of every opportunity that you're given to work on whatever issues you had then and whatever issues you still have now. And I commend you for the things that you accomplished even while you were at Angola in less than ideal circumstances. But today is not the day, Mr. Lejeune. I think you need more programming, and your disciplinary record is concerning. The write-up for the suicide watch that they put you on in 2022 was really because of an act of defiance on your part. You had multiple write-ups for disobedience and defiance. So I don't think you're ready yet. But I want to encourage you to keep work, stay out of trouble, don't get any more write-ups, and demonstrate to whatever board listens to your case in the future that you are ready for release, but it's not today. So my vote is to deny because of your disciplinary record, your lack of programming, and victim opposition. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Lejeune. I echo what Ms. Jackson said. You're at the corner. You haven't made the corner yet. Now you got to decide which way you're going to turn. And if you follow what Warden Myers has set for you, it's going to help you greatly in the future. But today's just not the day, and my vote today is to deny.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Mr. Lejeune, listen to me good. You are in one of the best situations possible. Over a period of 7.5 years, I've learned that certain situations are not as conducive as others, but the situation presently in with Warden Myers at Raymond Board is one of the best environments that you could be in the Department of Corrections. He has a plan. He knows you. He's ready to file. He knows you. He knows exactly what you need. Follow his lead. Stay out of disciplinary topics. And maybe next time it'll be a different story. My estimation is going to take a year or two for Warden Myers to execute his full plan. And if he gets your cooperation, maybe the next time it'll be a different story. But because of a general disciplinary conduct, that's totally unacceptable. You've been in either extended lockdown or working cell block at least 15 times during your incarceration. You've lost 218 days off your good time date. You have opposition from the victim. You have opposition from the DA's office and law enforcement. And quite frankly, you need additional programs. Stay on your mental health regimen. Do what Warden Myers requests, and your day is coming. But my vote is to deny your request. You have received 3 votes to deny your request. Your request for early release today has been denied. You have a good day.